And just watching him and Luke just shimmy across that rope bridge. Wasn't even a bridge, really. I was like, oh my God, I have got to stay tuned. Robert Scorpio brought us so many great storylines over the years. Now, again, he went from being, if I haven't explained sort of a little bit of the background, he went from being WSB secret agent to being the commissioner of Port Charles. And he was involved in a lot of very, very high profile capers, along with his ex wife and the mother of his child, Anna Scorpio, who went on to be commissioner herself later on after he left the show. Of course, his big, big romance was with Holly, who just happened to be Luke's ex. Huge, just a lot of stuff to go there. Let me see other things about it. Oh, and then there was the time that many years later, after that storyline, the Ice Princess, about a decade later, probably a decade plus, where he had to basically go up against beloved nurse, ex-hooker, Bobbie Spencer Jones, who is another one who sadly passed away. I'll be talking about her too. When basically, how else do I say it? She kidnapped a baby. She wanted a baby so badly. And she kind of sort of went, from what I remember, I think she kind of went through sort of the proper channels, only to find out that the baby belonged to her bestie, her best friend, Tiffany, her sister, Cheryl Stansberry, who actually also had a romance with Robert Scorpio. And there was a point in time when they thought that the baby Lucas, who actually turned out to be gay on the show, like point things, I like that out. Turned out that was not Robert's baby. Turns out it was Julie and Jerome, part of the Jerome crime family. I know I'm just rambling because I get so excited when I talk about soaps. But so yeah, Robert had to go up against Bobbie, who'd been on the show for many years, basically up until the day she passed away. Well, till she passed away, which was, I believe, last year. And that was another shocking death. Could not believe that Jacklyn Zeman is the actress. Could not believe that our beloved Bobbie left us. And I feel like even talking about it, I still haven't gotten over her death, because I loved me some Bobbie Spencer. I mean, way back in the day. And she talk about some great storylines. And Bobbie was fierce. You didn't mess with Miss Bobbie. And the thing that I really loved about her character is the fact that, yeah, she started off as a hooker. Now, she didn't start off as a hooker on the show. That was like before the prequel, I guess, before, she actually started airing her scenes way back in 1977. That's how far back she went. But then over time, we realized that she was a hooker, and that, are you ready for this? Her Aunt Ruby, I want to get her name right, Frances Connolly, I think. I'll have to look it up, and I'll probably correct myself. Was her madam. Her Aunt Ruby was her madam. And so, of course, Bobbie, just to give a little backstory to this, those of you who don't know, Bobbie and the famous Luke Spencer are brother and sister. And Ruby was her madam. And I think all this happened, I want to say it happened in Florida, which is another story. But yeah, and unfortunately, Ruby has been dead for many years, who was also another beloved character in that show for so long. So we're talking Bobbie, we're talking Ruby, we're talking Robert Scorpio, and just some more interesting storylines about Miss Nurse Bobbie. And by the way, Miss Bobbie, yeah, she would engage you in a cat fight, because she got into a cat fight with Cheryl Stansberry, who's biological, Lucas's biological mother, Cheryl. They got into a little scrap, and I will never forget that scene. Because Cheryl grabbed her by her hair, girl, because I think Jackie Zeman had just come back from maternity leave herself, so she was, her hair was really long, and she looked like, she still had a baby weight, blah blah blah, which normal, whatever. But Miss Cheryl got into that fight. She grabbed her by her hair and pulled her up off the floor, girl. I'm like, you better work, girl. But anyway, and another big story of Bobbie's was, of course, the revelation that she had a biological daughter from when she was, about 14 or so, way back when, I think around her prostitute days, and that was Miss Carly, girl, Those of you who know who Carly is, and of course, I will always say that the only and the best Carly, Sarah Brown, the very first Carly, fierce, The other Carly's after that, and I'm so sorry, but this latest Carly, I'll give Miss Laura Wright her due. I'll give her her due because she is an actress, but I prefer Sarah Brown. I think her name is actually Sarah Lee Brown. But anyway, first and best Carly. That was wild because, for one thing, that Carly, the very first Carly, slept with Bobbie, because that's her name, Bobbie Jean Spencer. Bobbie's then husband, Dr. Tony Jones. Okay. And I will never forget that scene where Miss Bobbie, this was about 96, I think, 1996, 97. She walked in. She walked in on him in bed together, girl. And see, the thing is, at that point in time, Bobbie did not know that Carly was her daughter. She did not know that, but Carly knew, and that's the reason why she came to Port Charles, was to check in on her mother, what's going on, why'd you give me away kind of thing, and it turned into kind of revenge. And it took, count it, 2 years for it to come out, for Carly to finally reveal to Barbara Jean that she was her daughter. And what was very interesting about that part in 1998, 2 years, mind you, is that Carly had just had a baby herself. So not only was Barbara Jean getting a brand new daughter, grown-up daughter, who was mean and vicious. I loved Carly. That Carly, she was amazing, such range as an actress. But not only did Barbara Jean find out that night, that in that episode, that she had an adult daughter, but that she had a grandson. Yes.